Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah. Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah, good evening. Thank you for joining us on Eyewitness on 97.3 Citi FM.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
Right, I'm sure you are aware of the members of the transition team. You've seen the members that the president inaugurated today. First and foremost, what do you make of the composition of the team on both sides? I'm asking because both parties are touting the experience and institutional memories of these members.
Exactly, that is the point. The Constitution prescribes areas that should constitute the team. And I think the President accordingly has selected people knowledgeable and also experienced in those specific areas that you mentioned. And the same way, the incoming administration has also nominated people of substance, of knowledge, of experience, who can really engage the other side to ensure that what is needed for now as part of the transition can be gotten. So I think it's a great start with a very solid, reputable individual going to manage this transitional process for us. So I'm quite pleased with the composition of the teams.
I see, but then again, you hear the members of, both parties also saying that they are going to ensure accountability, transparency, and openness. In your estimation, how can this be achieved in ensuring a fair and smooth transition? What mechanisms are we expecting to see from the transition team?
Well, you see, if you come to the ordinary world, corporate world, or any business organization, when the existing chief of staff or CEO is leaving, you prepare your handover notes. Even in secondary schools, when headmasters are being transferred, they prepare handover notes. But on the state level, it's more complicated and more sophisticated than, say, the headmaster of a secondary school preparing his handover notes. The nation or the state is a powerful institution embodying everything that consists of not just the people, but all what it takes to run a state machinery. Topmost among this certainly will be security of the state, then of course the finances and many others. So if you look at the composition, it reflects these very important or vital aspects of the state. Now, directly to your question, the reason why I think the incoming government has nominated the individuals that the president-elect has nominated simply tells you that he wants to ensure that those going to engage the government are those with the knowledge and the experience to ask the right questions and to expect to receive the right answers. So in a way, like you said, it's a time for accountability and all that. Sure, the state of the security of the country, you got to account for it fully. We know that, for instance, the northern sector, we have some threats from the country bordering us. We have other security threats that you and I may not know. And it's the government that is in charge of that. So it's important for this government to inform with documentation every aspect of how we are managing our security in the northern part as well as in all other areas of security. That's where the accountability comes in. Of course, when it comes to the area of finance and the economy, that's a huge area. We borrow so much, we get certain revenues, there could be some contracts pending or ongoing. All those other things relating to the financial well-being of this country must be known, well documented. So that is to help the incoming government in his own initial planning on how he gets these things done. So we move on to the other areas. So in effect, it's accountability of the stewardship of these areas by the incumbent government. Then transparency comes in when they ask for certain things to exemplify or to illustrate whatever that they claim to have. So all the necessary documentations, all the necessary records, videos, whatever will be provided. That is, in a way, the transparency part of it. So it is a national, more or less, accountability day, but just for the outgoing government and the incoming government. And I'm sure the people on the incoming government side are more than capable of demanding what they need to have and expecting to get what they need to get.
Right. You mentioned that the transition team should be asking the right questions, that's the incoming government, to get the right answers from the outgoing government. Also, you alluded to the fact that finance, economy, security areas of topmost priority. But beyond these two areas that you've alluded to, are there other key areas in the country that should be a top priority for both sides of the team?
Yeah, I just mentioned those two just as examples. All the others are listed. If you look at the government side, you notice that Attorney General, that relates to law and justice in the country. You notice there's Foreign Ministry. Of course, our relations with other countries, other international organizations will have to be accounted for. Interior, internal security, the agencies that help us to achieve that, like the police, another thing, defense, of course, the defense minister, Nitiwu, will be there to account for our the present status in terms of numbers, equipment, weapons, contracts underway, all those things. So I simply use the two as an example, but certainly it's more than the two. In fact, even local governance, the district assembly system will be accounted for. The public service, Dr. Agri, who has it, will be there to also give them the status of where the public service is today in terms of numbers, in terms of emoluments, in terms of ongoing expenditures or expected. All those areas will have to be accounted for, because you see, the incoming government is going to take charge of the country in all its vicissitudes, and therefore it's important that they get the accurate and up-to-date information for them to also begin to plan their agenda and to attack the areas of our country, economy particularly, that needs to be attacked as soon as possible. So it's a wide area with these a few areas selected by the Constitution to be looked at.
Prof, I'm also trying to get your thoughts on this particular aspect of transitions, especially when it comes to what we've seen on the continent, our neighboring countries, quite difficult when it comes to the handing over of power. First, you have seen the constitutional mandate that allows us to, inaugurate this transition team to ensure a smooth transfer of power. But in time past, looking at the changes we've seen on the continent, do you think that the constitutional mandate is okay? What do you say when it comes to comparison? Do you think that Ghana's approach in the inauguration of this transition is more enough, or is enough as compared to other democracies? Or you think that given the changes we are seeing, we should be adopting some other things from other countries or democracies? What's the picture you see?
Well, the good thing for us is that the Constitution prescribes exactly what constitutes transition. Of course, there could be others unwritten in the Constitution, but common sense will tell you how to do as part of the transition. And lucky for Ghana, this is not the first time. Since the changeover from Jerry Rawlings to John Kufuor, and Kufuor to Atamils to Mahama to the Nana Akufo-Addo, and now we are going to have about the sixth one. So we have gone through many times, and my expectation is that having this experience behind us, this could be approached in such a way that it will be exemplary, it will be very smooth for all. Regarding other countries, again, depends on what their constitution says or what conventions they have established for the handover notes. But let me say this, these transitional arrangements become important in a democracy. You see, if you remember when we used to have coup d'etats and all that, we simply, you don't know. In fact, you go to an office, everything is thrown apart. Desks are opened and things are stolen and all. So it really affected the way we archived our political history. But since we have these transitions in our democracy, I think things have become more organized and ordered. So I think that is what we need to do. I'm sure there'll be a few areas where we need to strengthen and enhance as we move on. But for now, I think we have had enough of these transitions for those who have been appointed now to do the best possible job to ensure the smoothest. So that is the beauty side of democracy, where a changeover is ordered, is organized, is peaceful, and everybody is happy. That is an achievement that we should be proud of. In other countries, even if they claim to run a democracy, they may not have such a smooth transition. What we have here is almost like what we have in the United States. You know, the incumbent president will be there for a few more months, and during that period, there will be engagement from both sides. If you know, in the States, Trump's team are already engaging the Biden team to make sure there's that kind of smooth transition. So I think overall, we are not doing badly at all on that side of our transition. What could be a problem, I don't know whether you have in mind to ask that question, is the problems we are having with the post-election management of peace, the way violence has broken out across the country. That in itself is very, very, very disturbing and sad.
All right, Prof, thank you so much for your time with us this evening. That's Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah, governance expert, sharing with us his thoughts on the inauguration of the transition team. But this is still